How do you trigger the entirety of the progressive internet with just 5 words? Take off your fucking mask. Domina dev does it again. Domina is a rather interesting gladiatorial management game that I did do a recommendation video for a couple of months ago. And the dev has a amusing habit of popping in little snippets of God's honest truth in his patch notes. Amongst other things, John McAfee did not kill himself. And most recently, take off the fucking mask. And somehow, this caused a furor in the usual anti-fan news media, with some absolutely fantastic irony being created as well. Here we have Eurogamer with the headline, "Indie Dev Gets Reviewed Bomb on Steam After Slipping Anti-Mask Rhetoric in Patch Notes," quoting one negative review saying, "Politics and personal views should never be a part of the gaming market." Now there's something I'd never thought I'd see on Eurogamer. It's downright remarkable how swiftly the sails turn when the wind starts blowing the opposite direction, doesn't it? Suddenly Eurogamers, "Oh, politics in my entertainment? No, never!" Good God. But even more importantly, honey, haven't you heard? The pandemic is over. We've removed all restrictions. They don't exist anymore. The current thing is Ukraine. Have you not received your NPC update yet? It seems to be something going around these days. A problem with the software rollout, clearly, as the usual bot algorithm seems to be reaching all the way back to 2016 for some of its point. Here we have one content creator saying that he's removing his Domina video from 2017, apparently one of the most popular pieces of Domina media in the world, because he doesn't platform white supremacists. Ah yes, take off your mask, shut up white supremacist. Oh, why the hell not? Why the hell not? So, let's actually talk a bit about this, shall we? The idea of politics in games media on the opposite side, the based side, shall we say, whilst having Domina, of course, running in the background. None of us here are any strangers to progressive propaganda being forced into literally everything: movies, TV shows, gaming, hobbies, entire settings under assault from groups of people who do not give two figs about the setting other than using it as a vehicle for their modern day politics. Hell, literally yesterday, I showed you an article of the classic anti-fan claiming that Lord of the Rings is now a modern-day cultural project, and it doesn't matter what Tolkien might have thought about anything, or what he might have written, because it's the modern day now, it's the current year, and so they get to do whatever they want with the thing you once knew and loved. Why? Simply because they have the power to do so, and that's all there is to it. We aren't even trying to make the moral argument anymore, it is just simply straight up, no, F you, we own this thing, and we intend to ruin it, whether you like it or not. And this is a phenomenon that is damn near unique to the modern-day far-left progressivist hordes, the anti-fans who used to have a loose connection to a setting, a hobby, or a fandom way back when, and have now decided that it would be an excellent vehicle for their worldview. The same, but reversed on the so-called right wing, is almost completely non-existent. The only real examples I can think of in relatively recent history in a major series will probably be coming from Japan, along the lines of Fire Force, for example, having a rant against modern-day prudish progressivism, where you can't have attractive female characters anymore or fan service in your entertainment. And when it does occur, it is usually a very small segment as a part of a much greater whole. The Fire Force example was 2 chapters, essentially, out of a 32 volumes long manga series. Now, I will admit, it was somewhat out of place, and it did kind of come out of nowhere, primarily, in all due likelihood, because the mangaka himself was getting sick of all of the bullshit he saw proliferating around him and on social media. It was an artist deciding to take a piece of his platform and go, okay, I'm gonna make a point here, and then move on with the story as usual. Another big difference from the progressivist propaganda, which, I mean, it's not a piece. It's not a part of a greater whole. Look at the recent Bel Air, for example, the supposed reboot of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air, which has nothing to do with The Fresh Prince whatsoever. It is simply one long propaganda show where there is no humor, there is no levity, none whatsoever. It is just modern day political buzzword nonsense, one after the other, after the other, after the other. Let me illustrate my point here by giving you one of the core plot points, right? Mild spoilers ahead, but not much of it. Carlton, you know, the lovable, goofy little cousin character whose entire role in The Fresh Prince was being, well, basically a cringe-ass white boy, to illustrate that the Banks family was just a normal American family like any other. Carlton is now snorting Xanax at school, dealing with crippling depression because there aren't enough black people around. No shit. The show straight up says that because Carlton doesn't have enough black people in his life, the constant microaggressions and racism, as well as playing lacrosse, mind you, has made him not black enough, and therefore it is causing mental damage. I'm not joking. I'm not exaggerating. That is an actual plot point in the new Fresh Prince of Bel Air. And unsurprisingly, as we've seen again and again and again, when your primary purpose is making modern-day propaganda, more often than not, the actual entertainment is complete and utter garbage. So what then about the opposite view? Well, here's the thing. If we ever were to see right-wing entertainment made as pure propaganda, odds are it would suck too. More than likely, in fact, virtually certainly. At the very least, once the novelty wears off, first you'd be sitting there like, holy hell, what's this? Opposite land? My, the sheer novelty of it was mildly entertaining. But there again lies the difference. Ideally, in a perfect world, I would prefer there to be no real-world politics whatsoever in my video games, in my hobbies, in my manga, in my anime, in my movies, in my TV shows, etc., etc. But that's not the world in which we live. Now is it? And as I've talked about previously, if only one side is fighting a war, guess who's going to be winning that conflict? It's not difficult to imagine. And at least so long as the right-wing propaganda, like, oh, I don't know, take off your mask because the pandemic has been over for several months now. Right-wing propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. We've traveled far in terms of the Overton window avidry. Though I suspect that the thing that pissed off the progressivist hordes the most this time was that he was also saying that, what are you afraid of, getting laid? And I suspect quite a few people felt that one hit a little bit too close to home. But oh well, details, details. As long as it is just little snippets like this, I'm all for it. In fact, I'm entirely positive towards it. I view it essentially as another form of gatekeeping, flushing out the community, going, oh hey, this is a really uncontroversial opinion right now. It's literally the line pushed by the mainstream media at the moment, but you were heavily against this for years and years because, well, you lick a lot of corporate ass, I guess. So let's see who bites. and quite a lot of people did buy it. Now, considering Domina is a really old game at this point, I remember first learning about it from Total Biscuit, so yeah, it's been a while. I'm thinking it's probably gotten all the sales it's likely to get, at the very least from the progressivist audience as well. Now, for my sake, I'd like to recommend it again. I've already done a recommendation video on it, and it's a damn fun little game, and there's also another way to support the author as well, as he also makes some music too. So I'll leave a little link to his web store thing down in the description below, because I don't think he's done anything wrong here. Rather, I think there's a convincing argument to be made that he's done everything right, in fact. So until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for listening, and I hope to see you all again soon. Have a good day.